Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Bojic. I'm a doctor of audiology here at HearingLife in New York City. A little brief background information about myself is that I earned my Bachelor's of Science at the University of Rhode Island and then my doctorate in audiology at the University of Connecticut. After that, I completed my residency at the North Shore LIJ, now known as the Northwell Hearing and Speech Center in Long Island, where I worked with children and adults, did diagnostics, hearing aids, and cochlear implants. And then fast forward about a little over 2 years now, and here I am. I love working here. I love my patients. I love working with my patients and helping them hear better and doing whatever I can for them. But I'm pretty excited to be part of our first Facebook live stream event today, and I'll be talking about a pretty simple but relevant topic to this time of year, which is what challenges can summer bring to those of you who wear hearing aids. So as I'm going through this, if you have any questions, any comments, any thoughts you want to share, definitely comment below, and I will do my best to get to them at the Q&A portion of this, which will be towards the end. While you might be ready to have some fun in the sun this summer, it's important to remember that hearing aids and the summer heat and humidity don't necessarily get along that well. Luckily, many hearing aid manufacturers use something called nano-coating protection, which is something that keeps the hearing aids protected and makes them very durable. Many of the hearing aids that we offer here at HearingLife do use that kind of protection, though if you're curious about that or about what kind of protection your hearing aids have, definitely get in touch with your provider and they'd be happy to answer that for you. In addition to that, hearing aids can be pretty sensitive to extreme changes in temperature. So like any other piece of electronic equipment, you don't want to store them in direct sunlight. You don't want to store them where it's extremely hot or extremely cold. So you want to avoid putting your hearing aids in direct sunlight or anywhere where it gets really hot, like a parked car or on top of an air conditioner, things like that. And that also goes for any accessories you use with your hearing aids, such as a streamer, or if your hearing aids are rechargeable, you also don't want to put that charger anywhere that's too hot or too cold. So in the summer, many of us like to do a lot of outdoor activities, like grilling with our families, mowing the lawn, laying by the pool, things like that. So very often when you're doing these outdoor activities, you'll probably be wearing sunscreen, and sunscreen and hearing aids aren't a good mix. So sunscreen has a lot of chemicals in it and things like that that can be pretty harmful to the plastic on your hearing aids. So it can cause the plastic to warp, to erode, and to even peel away. On top of that, the lotion and the sunscreen that we use can also clog up the microphones or clog up the openings on the hearing aid, which can cause it to stop working or can really do some damage. So you definitely want to avoid that. And a good tip for avoiding that is if you're going to put sunscreen on, take your hearing aids off first, put the sunscreen on, massage it in, make sure it's really well absorbed by your skin, then wash your hands and put your hearing aids on. You don't want to be in a rush when you're doing that. In addition to sunscreen, hearing aids and water are not a good mix. So thanks to that nano-coating protection that a lot of hearing aids have, you can get caught in the rain, or you get splashed by the pool, things like that, where the hearing aids are pretty water resistant. They're just not waterproof. There's no waterproof hearing aid out there. So you don't want to drop your hearing aid in a pool of water or something where they're going to be like completely submerged. So if that happens, definitely make sure the hearing aid airs out, open up the doors, let the hearing aid air out, things like that. If you're someone that has a lot of hair, so like any of the ladies watching this or any gentlemen that have a good head of hair, you're going to want to make sure that your hair dries after you've taken a shower or gone for a swim before you put the hearing aids back on. That can also save you a little bit of, hopefully, trouble with the hearing aids. Now, with the heat and humidity that comes along with summer, that provides the perfect environment for things like fungal microbes and bacteria to develop in your ears and in or on the hearing aids. So while you should be cleaning and maintaining your hearing aids regularly, you definitely want to do so more often in the summer. So whether that's wiping down the hearing aid with a disinfectant cloth or changing the pieces of the hearing aids more often, like the wax guards or the domes on the hearing aid, that will help protect the hearing aids as well as yourself. On top of that, it's also a good idea to, once in a while in the summer, let your hearing aids air out. So open that battery door, take the battery out, and let that hearing aid air out overnight. That'll let some of that moisture get out and let some fresh air get in as well. So those are some pretty quick and easy tips for what to do during the summer that you may do a little differently throughout the rest of the year to help protect you and your hearing aids. So I think right now we'll do a quick Q&A session. If any of you have any questions or comments or anything like that, now's the time to write them down below. And then as soon as we have our first question, I think my friend Alex here is going to ask me what that question is.
We'll let some of these questions come by, and so we'll just give it a moment.
Yeah, sure. Pretty simple stuff, but pretty important. Oh, and I'll even add something too. If you're someone that does a lot of swimming or spends a lot of time by the water, like a pool or like the beach, when you're fit with hearing aids, you'll usually get a nice case that comes with the hearing aids, like a soft case or a hard case. Use those as designated spots to store your hearing aids. If you're someone that does water activities like kayaking or canoeing or sailing or things like that, and you want to bring your hearing aids with you, we recommend you invest in something called a dry box, which is just like an inexpensive waterproof case that you can put the hearing aids in while you're active and then take them out when you're ready to use them. But your provider can definitely tell you more about that. Anything yet?
Oh, we got a question here. What should I do if my hearing aids are exposed to water?
Okay. So the question, I don't know if they can hear you. So the question is what to do if your hearing aids get wet or if they're exposed to water. The best thing you can do, again, let them air out. So if you can't get into your office right away, let them air out overnight. Open up the door, take the battery out, let some cool air into the hearing aids and let them dry. If in the morning when you go to put the hearing aid back on, it's not working, that's when you're going to want to call your provider. Exposing the hearing aids to water is not always going to kill the hearing aid. It's not going to cause it to necessarily just stop working altogether. A very common symptom of water exposure to a hearing aid is intermittency. So if the hearing aid is constantly turning on and off, that's usually a red flag that it's gotten wet in some way. Anything else?
Yes. Another question. Aside from disinfectant wipes, are there any other ways to clean my hearing aids?
Okay, so the question was, other than disinfectant wipes, what else can you use to clean your hearing aids? So again, when you're fit with hearing aids, you'll usually get like a little toolkit to use with your hearing aids, including the cases. You'll usually get like a little brush and a little magnet to manage the battery. You should also get a microfiber cloth. That's like one of the best tools that you can use to wipe the hearing aid down. If you need a brush, talk to your provider. They should have brushes for you. If you're somewhere where you can't get to your provider, like if you're on vacation and you want to bring a brush with you, my favorite thing for a hearing aid is actually a baby toothbrush. I just find that that's the most effective way to brush the hearing aid and clean the hearing aid off. On top of that, if you're someone that does do a lot of water activities or if you're someone that sweats a lot, another great tool for you to maybe invest in is something called a dry aid kit. And your HearingLife office should have these or can get one for you. But what that'll do is that will, if you put the hearing aid into this dry aid kit, that will essentially suck the moisture out of the hearing aid. So it's essentially the equivalent of putting, like if your phone gets wet, putting that in like a bag of rice. That's what a dry aid kit will do for your hearing aid, because you don't want to put your hearing aid in a bag of rice.
Another question. Do hearing aids restore your hearing back to normal?
Okay, so that is a great question. That's a loaded question. So the question is do hearing aids restore your hearing back to normal? And the answer to that is no. So hearing aids do not have the ability to restore anyone's hearing back to normal. They do get your hearing as close to normal as possible. Hearing aids will make speech more clear, more easily heard, and definitely just improve your overall quality of life. Hearing aids are also known for reducing the amount of effort you need to put forward throughout the day in order to hear. So hearing aids, you'll work pretty extensively with your provider and do quite a bit of follow-up and fine-tuning to make sure that the hearing aids do the absolute best for you that they can. Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Malik Lyons.
Mm-hmm.
Would leaving hearing aids in the sun hurt them?
Yeah, so direct sunlight is a no-no with hearing aids, especially in the summer. It depends for how long, but if you can avoid it, definitely avoid it. If you have a case that comes with your hearing aids, put the hearing aids in the case first, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And someone asks, can I leave my hearing aids in my car when I am swimming?
Okay, so when you go for a swim, don't leave your hearing aids in your car. Rather, leave them at home if you can, or maybe bring them with you in the case to the pool or to wherever you're going. You just don't want them sitting somewhere where it's going to get really hot, like a parked car. Mm-hmm.
How often should you have your hearing checked?
Okay, so the question was, how often should you have your hearing checked? That's another good question. So typically, if you have hearing loss or if you wear hearing aids because you have hearing loss, we recommend you have your hearing checked about once a year. The reason for that is because it's important for your provider to monitor the status of your hearing loss, and that yearly visit to your office can also give the provider an opportunity to make sure that your hearing aids are working to the best of their ability. Modern digital hearing aids are very programmable in that if your hearing did change during one of those annual hearing tests, your provider can update the programming in the hearing aids to make sure that they're working at their best capacity for you. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions?
We have one more question.
Sure.
Do only people with severe hearing loss need hearing aids?
Okay, that is another great question. So the question was, do only people with severe hearing losses need hearing aids? That's another loaded question. The answer to that is no. So hearing aids, again, are very programmable, very adjustable. They're not a one-size-fits-all solution. So there are different degrees of hearing loss. There are different people with different difficulties that hearing aids can be adjusted for. If you're someone with a severe hearing loss, more than likely a hearing aid or 2 hearing aids is going to be the recommended course of treatment. However, there are certain situations or certain red flags that can pop up that may make it so that a hearing aid is not recommended for you. The only way for you to know that is for you to come in to have your hearing evaluated and to speak with one of our providers.
Like all the questions.
That's all the questions? Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining me for our first Facebook live stream event. We covered a pretty simple but important topic regarding summer. If you had any questions or comments that I wasn't able to get to, definitely continue to comment below or reach out to one of our offices using the link below or the phone number that's also below, and make an appointment with one of our HearingLife offices. I guess that's it. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you for our next Facebook live stream.